3,000 people in front of me, so that didn't work so well. But these are really awesome support groups online. There's one in particular that I want to highlight there. If you're a K2, K3 teacher, that Canvas for Littles series is really great. A lot of the questions I'm getting lately are like, how do I package this for younger primary kids? That's a great like YouTube channel to follow. Another one to highlight is the very bottom on the Facebook group. First of all, we have a Sanger Facebook group that's just for Canvas, so sharing ideas within our Canvas, within our district. But then the third one down that says grade level content area specific groups, those are really helpful. And there's a PE group, there's a music group, there's a psych group, there's like social studies, language arts, you know, secondary, primary. Most people on those groups are very willing to share things that they have made. So if you're looking for some helpful resources, that's a great place to go. Okay, so customizing your course. This is, I'm not going to show you the videos because probably most of you, if you went through Growing with Canvas, have already tried doing this. But I have gotten a lot of questions, especially with the K6 Canvas courses that were just pushed out. Okay, Rachel, I got the, you know, the 3rd grade SUSD ELA course, but I want to change that button. It says ELA and I want it to say language arts, or I want to add a music button, or I want to add a PE button, or I want to add a library button, or you name it, a student of the week button, or an article of the week button. So on this slide, number 1 is going to show you how to import a template from Commons. If you don't already know how to do that, there's a screencast showing you, so you can go back to that and watch it. It's review. Step 2, if you click on that link, that is a collection of all of the banners and buttons from all of the K6 courses and screencasts from all of the Canvas experts who created them, showing you how you could use those variety of platforms to modify buttons. So if, you know, you can create buttons from Canvas, you can do, or from Canva, you can do it from Google Slides, you can do it from Google Draw. There's a ton of different ways you can use different art platforms to create buttons. But there's like many ideas within that one document and like themes that you could steal that are really easy to use. Another question that I commonly get is number 3. Okay, Rachel, so I have these banners and buttons and I go to load them on my page and they're like all wonky. You know, when I go to the iPad view, it looks all crooked and not lined up. And then if I go back to the laptop view, it's all weird. So that actually, that tutorial right there will help you with just how to set up some tables and different things with like more advanced settings so that your buttons are aligned and equal in size and they look good on both the app view and the you know, computer view. So you're welcome to go back. I just wanted to make sure those are there if you had those specific questions. It's very easy to follow, so we're not going to go through that right now. All right, Rhonda, I think this is you. Rhonda, you're not, your mic, I think you're muted.
Okay, are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Can we hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna talk about embedding. The embedding tool is, or tools actually, you can see along the bottom of the screen there. Those are some of the little icons that you see above the rich content editor. The rich content editor appears when you are adding a page or creating a page or an assignment, some of the various options within Canvas. And so we're going to talk through what each of the options does. There you can see that there are links here, different videos. Rachel created this one about how to embed videos without an embed code. This one is specific to YouTube. So if you are somebody who might embed a lot of YouTube videos, I'm actually going to walk you through that step too. Those are things that you can reference later, but we'll talk about what these links are and then we'll go ahead and practice a little bit, okay? So the first one, guess what? It's a link. It's a basic link. So if when you are creating a page or an assignment, all you want to do is include a link, a clickable link for students. Then you're going to use the link option. Okay, if you want to add an image, you are going to use the image option. So the image can be uploaded from your computer. Within Canvas, there is like a warehouse of images called Unsplash. So you can search within that. It's pretty cool. And then you can also use a specific URL to pull in an image or embed an image into that rich content editor. One of the things I was asked yesterday was, when you embed something, can you add words around it? And the answer is absolutely. You can still add additional content to the box, to the rich content editor. The next one is media. And so in this option, you can upload previous recordings that you have. So anything you have in your computer that you might want to share. You can record new media within that option, or you can embed something from the internet. So like if you wanted to embed a YouTube video, you would do that here. And then finally, the document option. So you'll have the ability to drag and drop something into the rich content editor, or from the rich content editor. It's really that simple. You can also upload, all of these will offer you the option of uploading something in your course. So let's say, for example, that you've already created something or saved something within the files that you have in Canvas in a particular course, but you want to share it again, or maybe make it more visible for students. All of these options, I believe, give you the opportunity to upload from within your course, okay? And we'll see that in just a second. So I'm gonna switch over to my Canvas page so you guys can do that as well now if you wanna go to your Canvas course or a Canvas course that you have. Okay, and I'm gonna scroll down. And for this, for right now, I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment. Okay, so you can do an assignment or a page, and we're just going to play with it for a second, but I'm going to show you specifically how to embed a YouTube video. So I'm going to click on assignment, and we're going to call this, I'm just going to title it something that I know I can delete later. And then this is the rich content editor box that I was talking about. I learned something cool yesterday. I saw Rachel do this. I didn't know that this was a thing, but down here in the bottom, the 8 little dots that appear beneath, you can use that to make your rich content editor bigger, which I need because my eyes are bad. So these are the specific tools that I was talking about on the previous screen. So here's the link, the image, and as I mentioned, when you do the drop down, you can upload an image from your computer. If I click on that, so I can use my computer, Unsplash, or a URL. But the other option it gives me is to import course images. So that would be something, again, saved from the course files over here that I have already stored in Canvas, okay? But right now we're gonna use this, we're gonna upload a media recording, okay? So I'm gonna click on upload or record. Question?
I do have a question, Rhonda.
Yeah.
I've always brought in files from my course images. I always wondered where they went if I just drag them on the upload. Does it store them in a certain spot?
Yes. So within Canvas, you have files, and please nobody judge me based on my files because this was when I was in the Canvas pilot. And so I have no files, really. I went, the first time I uploaded something, it went to the new file. So it was just defaulting to that. But along your course navigation list here, if you click on files, you can see anything that you've uploaded to your course. And you can organize them much better than I did.
Okay, so if you just drag it and drop it on the upload feature, it just kind of dumps it in the main directory.
Correct.
Files.
And usually there is a, let's see, you can create folders. Those are from Commons. You can even upload stuff, I guess, here from Commons. But I feel like there's also a screen somewhere when I'm given the opportunity to upload, that it allows me to shift the files around right when I do it. So I never did the drag and drop.
Right. Me either.
My desktop is too messy to drag and drop often. So, but this is where you should find anything that you've uploaded.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Let me see if it'll take me right back. Okay, so in the rich content editor, we're going to embed, so upload or record media. So again, I could upload something from my computer and place it here. I can hit record, and there I am. Good morning, everybody. Or I can embed. And so to embed something, you need the embed code from whatever the resource is. So I'm going to show you how to embed a YouTube video. So I'm going to switch my screen and go to YouTube. So if you want to do this, you can add a browser window and go to YouTube. So here I am at YouTube, and I want to embed this annotating a PDF on iPad and Canvas. Okay, so once I am in YouTube and I found the video that I want, I'm going to click share. And then instead of my normal copy right here to get the link, I'm going to click embed, and then I'm going to hit copy. Now, if you have a very long video and you want just a portion of it, you can use this feature to start at a particular place. But for my purposes right now, I'm just going to copy the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to click out, and I'm going to go back to my Canvas page, and I'm going to paste the embed code. And there we have it. So I can center this on the page. I can type above it. I can do all kinds of things within the rich content editor in addition to embedding the video. Okay, now this is an assignment. So in order for it to be to process, I have to click on some of these things. But these are just assignment settings. I have to include a due date or it won't post. But I just want to show you guys what it looks like when it posts. Oh, this is an old class. Okay. So I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, so if it allowed me to save, what you would see when I open the assignment page is my words that said watch this video, and then the embedded YouTube video. Okay, so that's exactly how embedding works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to model that process one more time quietly while you practice embedding something of your own. Okay, so you can do a link, you can do an image, you can practice with a video, or you can do a document. Okay, so those are your options, and I will show you one more time. This time I'll use a course that is not expired.
So while Rhonda is doing that, for those of you who are just getting started and are learning just how to embed video, period, you can check me out, don't listen. But for those of you who already maybe have embedded videos, but I get a lot of questions about like, well, the size of the video, I want it to be bigger, or I want it to be smaller, or can I add a border, or can I shrink the border, or whatever. There's all sorts of different questions I get. So on the bottom of the rich content editor, along those, right next to the 8 dots that Rhonda was talking about that can increase the size of your rich content editor box, there's those little HTML arrows. If you click on that, you can edit the HTML in within a Canvas page. And again, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out, you're using science words, just ignore me. But it's actually really easy if you want to change just the size of a video. If you click on HTML, the little arrows, there's usually going to be a width and a height size. And you can go in and just decrease those sizes. Like if, let's just say a typical size might be like 800 by 600 and you want it bigger, you could do 1000 by 800 or 1200 by 1000. And then click that button again and you'll be able to increase the size of your video. And you can play around with it. So it's actually really easy. Sometimes the code that comes over with a video doesn't have height and width requirements or parameters included in the code. And you can actually add that in there. So if you have any kind of code knowledge, I didn't want to do it right now because I don't want to freak anyone out, but there are a bunch of HTML codes that are very easy to use that are like add a border, add a line, add a colored background, add a this, add a that, that I can push out. If you're requesting that, you're like, yes, please give that to me, send me an email. I probably won't be able to give it to you like today, give me a week or so, but there's some fun things you can do to play around with the HTML.
Okay, so are we good to continue? Any questions before we continue? safeyoutube.net IC. Yeah, so yesterday there were questions also about how to avoid advertisements within YouTube, and then I see the links, they just continue to other videos and you can end up somewhere where you didn't want to be. So safeyoutube.net, I'm not familiar with that, but that is fantastic if that's a alternative. Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide and talk about external tools. So you may have noticed that along the rich content editor, one of the last options there was the little plug, and the plug represents apps and external tools. Okay, so when you create an assignment, one of the options you can see here in the assignment box, there's no submission or online submission, which may be a file upload like a screenshot or a PDF or something. And then there's on paper assignments. Those would be for things that you like kids maybe aren't going to submit digitally. And then the external tool is going to pull from outside sources. So when you click on external tool, it will ask you to select or find the external tool that you would like to use. And this is a screenshot of what that will look like. So if you click find, then this screen will pop up and you will scroll through the list and choose something that you would like to use. So we're gonna focus on Google this morning because that is probably one of the primary resources that teachers will be using. This video does an excellent job of walking through that process too, but we're gonna go through that process now about how to upload a Google assignment. Okay, so I'm gonna take you through those steps. Another thing that just to kind of preemptively say this, when I show you the external tools, one of the things that teachers said yesterday was, oh, well, I don't have all of those tools. So we're still in the process of integrating a lot of the different resources into Canvas. And for some of them, it's like syncing issues and licensing issues and all of these things. So some of them may appear on mine but they may not appear on yours. And there are a couple different reasons why that might be, but don't panic. Also, if you see something or if you don't see something and you're like, well, I would really want that. Why don't we have that? That's absolutely something we need. Then Rachel's going to be the point of contact for app integrations within Canvas. So you can certainly contact anybody from the DIS team, but just know that there are a lot of tools that are currently in the works that we're planning to integrate. The benefit of an integration, for the most part, is it can work within Canvas. Okay, so I'm going to switch my screen, and if you want to follow me in your Canvas page, I think that would be a good idea. So we're going here, and I'm going to delete this. So I'm in a practice assignment. Okay, and here is the plug that follows all of the sources or the resources that we've already talked about. So I'm going to click on apps, and then I'm going to scroll down to Google, and you'll see that you have two options. So something has changed in our system because yesterday the first one said Google Assignments and then the other one said Google Drive. Now they both say Google Drive. Okay, so I'm going to pull from Google Drive because, they're the same. And this will take you to your Google Drive. Now, if you haven't ever linked Canvas and your Google Drive, it will ask you to authenticate. And one of the best practices that Rachel mentioned at the very beginning was that everything needs to be updated. So with apps, it's even more important. So if teachers are more willing to, I think, click through the steps and figure out what the resolution is, students often quit. So if they are having authentication issues with their Google Drive within Canvas, then likely something needs to be updated, okay? So I'm going to scroll down and find a document to embed. And I'm going to click my To Kill a Mockingbird study guide. And then down here, it's hard to see, but you have the option to embed or link. I'm going to click embed. There's the authorize or authenticate that I was talking about. And then within my rich content editor, students will be able to see the actual document. Okay, so they will be able to see the Google Doc. Now, if I scroll down and create a due date, I want to show you what it will look like. So there's my Google Doc on the student assignment page. Okay. So I'm going to give you time to try that same process. So you can either create a page and embed a Google Doc within a page. So if it's something, pages are like transfer of information. You're just sharing information with students. If you create an assignment, then it's going to ask them, you should create an assignment when you're asking students to complete a task. So if it's a Google Doc that has information that you want to share with students, then you may want to use a page as opposed to an assignment. And you can also do both, right? So like if you have a page that has instructions for students, you might want to embed that instruction document within the rich content editor of an assignment. It isn't just for putting in, like a document in which they would type. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys play with that. If you have anything to add, Rachel, you can pop in with the embedding of a Google Doc, but I think that covers it kind of. So go ahead and play for a minute.
So if you are just learning how to embed Google Documents, ignore me. This is kind of next step. I get lots of questions, especially from teachers who are newer to Canvas with students. Can my students annotate directly on a document within Canvas? And the answer is yes. Canvas has its own annotation tools that function very well and were designed for use on iPads. So in the example that Rhonda just gave, where you embed a Google document directly within the rich content editor, on an iPad, if you were to pass that out with a student, they could annotate directly on that Google document and save it and turn it in directly within the Canvas window. They wouldn't have to have their own copy of the document. It wouldn't have to be exported to their Google Drive or anything. It literally right on the screen, they can annotate directly on it. Sometimes teachers ask me, well, which is the best way? And well, it really kind of depends on the assignment, right? So if you are giving your students maybe something where they have to circle things, so kinder through third, if it's a worksheet and they have to circle numbers on a math worksheet, they can easily do that by just adding a PDF or adding a Google Doc directly within that rich content editor. But if your students are going to be typing something lengthy, that's very wordy, that's more detail oriented, that's more precise, math problems with multiple steps or things like that, maybe you might want to give them a copy of a Google document so that they can actually physically type on it with their keyboard. But just so that you know in your brain, if you include a Google Doc within the rich content editor as part of an assignment, what you would include is the assignment submission. Instead of using an external tool, you would just say online, and the students can write directly on that Google Doc and submit that to you. So just so you know.
So I see Janet Nelson has a question. The embed code was embedded, not the video. Just wondering what I need to do to fix the embedded code to the video. So I can walk through that process. So when I was embedding a video, I pasted, and I don't think I still have it. I do. So I don't know, Janet, if you went to that step, but you have to make sure that you go to embed and type or paste the embed code within this box. So I'll do that one more time. Here's the media tool, and I have to click upload or record media, and then I click embed, and then I paste the embed code from Google. Okay. So I don't know if we missed a step there maybe, but that's how we embed. Okay. So we're going to,
sorry to interrupt you. One other quick note about embedding. Sometimes on the other end, wherever you're getting the video from, those web designers and app designers and things, when they're scripting those pages and doing the HTML on their end, sometimes they block their videos from being anywhere else. So it is possible if you go and you grab an embed code and you within Canvas that you'll get a gray screen that says something like unable to view. And if that happens, it just means that that site has blocked embedding. So if that happens, my suggestion would be provide a link as opposed to embedding. The students can still get to the video and see it. It's just not as convenient as seeing it right there within the Canvas window. But that will happen from time to time.
Yes, good point. Okay, so this is a tutorial on how to submit a PDF assignment with annotations. This is probably, I would say, Rachel, you can chime in, but one of the questions you get asked the most.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go over it because the video is a great example. It shows you from a student view what they would look like if you embed a PDF within a rich content editor and how they would go about using the Canvas annotation tools. Rhonda, if you could switch to Canvas really quickly, just to a rich content editor box. So within that rich content editor, just so you know, if you want to embed a PDF, it's actually, there's basically two ways that most teachers will do it. The little paper that looks like it's typed on, you would just click upload document and drag and drop your PDF from your desktop. If your PDF is in your Google Drive, then you would use the plugin icon and just scroll down, click Google, find your PDF, and it will embed. And when you send that out to students, they will have the option to use all the groovy little annotation tools that Canvas provides. So super easy.
Okay, so I am not going to spend a ton of time on the Canvas gradebook because this is a mixed group. But I would like, there are some things I would like to say. Mixed group means this. If you are a 6 through 8 teacher who uses PowerSchool, then in my opinion, one of my favorite features in Canvas is the gradebook and SpeedGrader. Now this is something that will work for all of you to keep track of grades, and I really do like the Canvas gradebook. One of the parts that I like the most is this first button, and this is going to only apply to those of you who use PowerSchool for recording grades. So at the end of the year, there was discussion and a plan to move all teachers to PowerSchool for grading, but because of all of the changes that are occurring due to shutdowns and distance learning, TK to 6 is sticking with Elluminate for now. Good news though, for those of you who are using Elluminate, eventually you'll be moving to PowerSchool, and so all of this will be very relevant, and you will have the benefit of the sync between PowerSchool and Canvas, okay? So PowerSchool and Canvas talk, they sync nightly, and that eliminates the need to transfer grades from one platform to another. So if you've used Google Classroom in the past and you have to transfer grades, with Canvas, that step is eliminated. The SpeedGrader function is fantastic, and it allows for tabulation of rubric scores immediately as you use rubrics within Canvas, and those tabulated scores will appear in grade cells, saving you time. So if you're like an English teacher and not great at math, then it helps with that too. And SpeedGrader is something that I believe all teachers will love. Uploaded student work can be annotated. So just like Rachel was talking about PDFs for students, same thing for teachers. When you receive student work, you can annotate on that work, which is really easy on iPads with Apple Pencils, which rumor has it, those are coming your way. So a lot of the upgrades that we are working on with technology are going to benefit you as we transition to Canvas, because you'll have the tools that work very well together. And then one of the things that I think is so fantastic about Canvas and the gradebook are the feedback options, which include audio or video recordings in addition to or in lieu of written annotations or comment boxes. So sometimes I feel like when I type out a comment, my tone is lost, right? Same thing with text messaging, you lose your tone. But if you can record your voice even, or do a video recording for a student to explain to them why something works or why it doesn't, then I think that's tremendously beneficial, especially in this time where everything is being done virtually. Okay, so those are just some of the things that I think are fantastic about the Canvas gradebook that I wanted to share with all of you. Okay, within the gradebook, there are lots of tools and different ways to view, and some, I just want you guys to know that there are people at your sites, experts I was able to work with over the summer who have taught me so much about Canvas on all of your sites. So you have people at your sites who know way more about this than I do. And I hope you know who they are, but if you know, find them. They will help you. And like I said, I've learned so much. But within the gradebook, you have the option to view by learning mastery, which is going to be like a standards-based progress. To do that, you need to use outcomes, which is a way for you to upload all of your standards and then link those standards to assignments or quizzes or anything that students complete so that you're actually tracking standards progress, okay? Individual view is going to, and I'm looking at this drop down here, and I'll take you to the gradebook in a minute, but it allows you to adjust gradebook settings to your individual preference. And then gradebook history allows you to sort by individual students and choose a date range. So if you want to see what a particular student has done in a particular time period, you can use the gradebook history. You can also arrange your gradebook according to your preference. So assignment name, due date, point value, all of those things. And then one of the things that I think I probably, this is going to be for people who have, like if you're 6th, 7th, and 8th, maybe just 7th and 8th, and you have multiple courses with the same title, they may all be linked in the same tile on Canvas. So for example, I have 5 sections of 7th grade English, and they're all in one grouping. But so people panic because they're like, wait, I only have one. No, all of your students are in that course, but you are going to filter the way that you look at your gradebook and see them differently, okay? So if you are K through 5, for sure that doesn't apply to you. I'm not sure about all the 6th grades. It probably depends on how they're set up, okay? But I'll show you that firsthand in just a second. Also, Rachel has created this gradebook cheat sheet. So print this and keep it handy somewhere where you can reference it as you are setting up your gradebook. And one of the things, like, just to remember is that for 6 through 12, PowerSchool grades are permanent, just like Illuminate grades are permanent. So that's what goes on the student's transcript and permanent record. So if you are using the sync option between PowerSchool and Canvas, you want to make sure that you set everything up in PowerSchool first, and that you import that information to Canvas. It's just going to aid in their nightly conversation. Basically, just think of it as they're speaking the same language. But because PowerSchool is the endpoint, you want to make sure that everything is set up there first. Okay? Okay, so rather than talk about all of these little things that are important, I'm going to take you to a Canvas gradebook so I can show you live. So you can go to your Canvas gradebook and follow along with me so that we can just explore some of the options, okay? Switch over.
Hey guys, we are having some sound issues, so if you guys could do me a favor and turn off your webcams, please, your cameras, so that we might be able to improve our streaming ability, that would be great. Okay, can we hear me?
Can you hear me, Rachel?
Yes,
Okay.
I can. You're good.
Okay, so as I mentioned, gradebook options here. So this is our Growing with Canvas course, and so there are no learning outcomes uploaded. But if I did have learning outcomes uploaded and I had like my standards linked to outcomes, sorry guys, we're busy. Anyway, I would be able to see student progress by standard. Okay, so if you are K through 6, this would be something fantastic to explore. Okay, so there's a note about that. The gradebook history view, this is what I mentioned about allowing you to search by student. I thought it would be me. Let's go with. So if I want to search by date, I can filter and see activity by a particular student. I can see who graded the assignment, the submissions, those kinds of things. I can search by assignment as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to filter. And then on the left side, oh, so for those of you who have multiple sections within one course, this is how you sort. So you go to view, filter, and then I don't have sections within this course. But if I did have sections, it would say sections here. Okay, so again, 7th and 8th grade teachers with multiple sections of the same course, if you go to filter, then you'll have the option to sort by section. And when you do that, right here, a little window will pop up, and it will, the default is all courses, but it will allow you to drop down and view your grade book by section. So first period, second period, or however it goes. Okay. So that's an important step for those of you who are 7th or 8th grade teachers. One other thing about the gradebook, so I mentioned that there is a nightly sync to PowerSchool, and I will show you how to set up that sync. But in addition, if it is like nearing the end of a grading period and you are feverishly grading and students are bugging because they're still looking in PowerSchool even though you've told them that Canvas is where you're recording your grades, you can sync to PowerSchool at any time by going to Actions and clicking on this first link here, Sync to PTP. So that's going to send your grades to PowerSchool immediately. It will still sync nightly if you set that up, but it will do an immediate sync if you would like that. So you can do that as often as you'd like. If you do not set up the nightly sync, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second, but if you don't set that up and you wait a long time before syncing PowerSchool and Canvas, that upload takes a while. So my recommendation is to set up the nightly sync even if you only update grades once a week, okay? Because it's just a smoother flow. All right, so I'm gonna go to my course navigation page, and grade sync isn't listed here because it's not an option. So I'm gonna go to a different course. Where is my panda? Here we go. Looking for my panda. So in your courses, you will have this grade sync option. If not, you can adjust that in course navigation. But the grade sync option is going to take you to this page, and the reports will show you failed syncs. Okay, so I have failed syncs here, and the reason that they have failed is because they are not linked. None of the people in this course are in PowerSchool, so it wouldn't work. Okay, but if and I'm going to need to unclick this, but sync, if you go, instead of reporting, click on sync, and then click on scheduled daily sync, and then save, that will allow the sync to happen nightly between PowerSchool and Canvas. Again, that would be for grades 6 through 12. Okay? So I'm going to give you a couple moments to explore the Canvas gradebook, and I'll jump over to the chat. So if you have questions, feel free to unmute and ask the questions, but go ahead and play around in the gradebook with some of the features in the Canvas gradebook for a minute.
For those of you who are playing, go ahead, but I'll just add a couple notes on top of that. If you're a K-5 teacher and obviously you're still using Elluminate this year, I would still highly recommend using the gradebook for a couple reasons. First of all, if your parents are, well, I'm a parent. I have had students grow up through Sanger Unified, and accessing the Elluminate gradebook is shoddy at best, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's not the easiest platform. And if I have one student already, you know, I have to log into PowerSchool to check his stuff, and then I have to log in over here to check that. Honestly, it's not super parent friendly. So if you're pairing your teachers, or I'm sorry, your parents to your students as observers, which we'll go over in a couple slides, I will recommend using the gradebook because it's all in one place, right? They log into Canvas, they can see the calendar. When are the assignments due? They can see the assignment instructions and you know, help their child with whatever needs to be done. They can see the gradebook and historically see if things were turned in late, see if things, you know, what their actual grade was. They can see overall grades. They can like literally they can inbox you, they can message you. It's all in one place. So if you're using Elluminate still, it's super easy to use the Canvas gradebook. You can print it out as a spreadsheet and then, you know, do your entering or whatever into Elluminate when you're ready. But I would highly recommend it for that reason. The second reason is that ultimately you will be switching to using that gradebook. So using it in the interim to kind of become familiar with it would be a great option. 6th through 12th or 6th through 8th grade teachers who are board here, I cannot emphasize enough on slide 39. And Rhonda referenced it. There's a gradebook cheat sheet. It also includes very specific and explicit directions on how to set up your gradebook so that it accurately and without error passes grades back to PowerSchool. So summary version, you have to set up your gradebook in PowerSchool first. You're going to set up weights. You're going to set up categories. Those weights and categories have to be transferred over to Canvas. If you do not do that first, you're going to be moving assignments around in Canvas and having to delete extra assignment categories. The assignment categories in PowerSchool have to match the assignment categories in Canvas, or you're going to have issues with those systems each other. So make sure that you find that cheat sheet, print it out, like follow it step by step. That will prevent headache in the long run, I promise. There are ways to rectify it if it's messed up. Like I said, it just takes more time. So there's my 2 cents.
That is at least 5 cents, Rachel. I'll give you 5 cents, at least. Okay, so moving on, SpeedGrader. So I have 2 screencasts, or sorry, 2 examples here of student work using SpeedGrader. So again, if you've participated in Growing with Canvas, which I highly recommend, you've seen this, you've seen how this works. But the SpeedGrader function allows you to see student work that is submitted, and you can use annotation tools to comment directly on those graded assignments. If it is a discussion, and I know that this is small and hard to see, but this is a discussion board. And so it was a student was asked to respond to a TED Talk. And so the student posted a comment and then had to reply to another student. So I can sort that by student. and then grade the students' submissions within SpeedGrader. I can add a rubric. Question I often get is, well, can I just upload my rubrics? The answer is no, but you can import, you can create your rubrics within Canvas to be used again and again and again. So if you have a common rubric that you use for, you know, argumentative writing, or for a discussion board or a presentation, and those are ones that you'll use again and again, it's well worth your time to create those in Canvas and use them for grading. These additional videos here, so this is an overview of the tools within SpeedGrader that I think the gentleman who does this is a fantastic job. I did just a quick walkthrough of some of the features of SpeedGrader, and this one, for those of you who are keyboard people and you're like, I'm not going to grade anything on an iPad, the shortcuts are for people who would prefer to grade on your laptop, and you want shortcuts to go from, you know, this cell to this cell to this cell. So it's a nice little cheat in how to use SpeedGrader. Okay, so there were a lot of questions about, there have been a lot of questions, and this is one of those things Rachel emphasized about syncing your gradebook to PowerSchool. Rachel, is this sheet the same one that's linked?
Yes, it is. That is the cheat sheet for setting up your gradebook. It also includes the gradebook, like the grading sheet, so it's all in one.
All in one. So
Yep.
This is what she recommended that you print out, you keep close, you refer back to, because it is very, very helpful when you are establishing your gradebooks and making sure that everything runs smoothly later. I showed you guys the grade sync button on your course navigation toolbar, and so this is just walking you through that step of how to do it. But one thing I want to say is that oftentimes the errors that you find there, if you look at the reports, they're because a step was missed here. Okay, so it might seem tedious, but if you walk through the steps of setting up your gradebook appropriately, it's going to save you headaches later. Okay, so both of these video tutorials are very helpful in terms of syncing your gradebook, setting up your gradebook, and making sure that the progress is consistent throughout. And don't forget to download that document. Okay, quizzes. So we're just going to touch on quizzes. So Canvas offers a quizzes platform, or the option, as a tool for students to take quizzes. There are 12 different question types. They're all listed here. If your quiz is a multiple choice quiz or objective quiz, for which there's right or wrong answers only, then it will grade the quiz for you, and it will automatically populate it in your Canvas gradebook. Okay, so that is a huge advantage of the objective quizzes, because they are scored and entered automatically. Now that's objective quizzes. So if you have short answer or things that the teacher has to grade, then of course you would have to go in and do that. In addition to scored quizzes, there are practice or unscored quizzes, as well as survey options within the quizzes feature. So you have different tools to play with. Some of the benefits of quizzes, so you can limit time for students to complete a test. There's answer shuffling. You can allow for multiple attempts, and you can also offer feedback for both correct and incorrect answers. So if a student picks the correct answer and you want to cheer or give them a yay or whatever, you can do that. And for incorrect answers, you can also redirect them or guide them in that moment. So at any point, regardless of what answer they pick, you can offer feedback. So again, one of the ways that Canvas offers a ton of feedback tools. Okay, and so this screenshot shows you some of the options that you can click to when you're establishing a quiz. A quick note about quizzes and Elluminate and so on. So different sites have asked about lockdown browsers, such as we use for state testing. So can I lock my kids into a test or a quiz as they're taking it? What I discovered in my search is that within Elluminate, we already have that capability. So if you use Elluminate for quizzes or tests, then we have what's called the Respondus Lockdown Browser, and we can already do that in Elluminate. There are some steps that we have to take to enable that, but we're in the process of doing that. So what I would like you to do, all of you, if you are interested in that process, please shoot me an email, okay? Because I'm trying to collect information about who needs it, who wants it, and then I'd like to present this other option. So the lockdown browser is also something that we could connect with quizzes in Canvas, okay? The way that lockdown browsers work is they are attached to a specific app. So for example, if students are taking the state test and they log into the California Secure Browser, they can't on their iPads, or they can't navigate outside of that particular website. It would shut down their test, right? So that's the way the lockdown browsers work. But a lockdown browser is attached to whatever app or platform it has been added to, okay? So if we get the Respondus Lockdown Browser for quizzes, it would only work with quizzes, and then again, it already works with Elluminate. So I'm exploring it as an option. Again, if it is something that you would be interested in, please let me know, okay? Because there is a trial period and we could play with it if we wanted to, but I don't know how tied people are to quizzes in Canvas, and I thought it might be beneficial to play around with it a little bit more before we entered into like a license. All right, so if you're interested in lockdown browsers, please let me know. Last thought on lockdown browsers, the intent of a lockdown browser is for live instruction. What I mean by that is if a kid is sitting at his desk and I have told that student to put his or her phone away, I can monitor that. If we use a lockdown browser and students are distance learning, I can't control whether or not that student has a phone out and is taking screenshots of a laptop. So while I do think there is some inherent benefit to a lockdown browser, it isn't a foolproof way to protect testing in a distance learning environment. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, but those are some things that are ongoing, and I would appreciate any and all feedback that you guys have. Okay, any questions on quizzes? Okay, one last note about quizzes. I had some teachers discover question groups on quizzes and shared that just the other day. Question groups allow it in the test generation or quiz generation. If you create question groups, it can randomize the questions that students are asked. So if you're worried about every kid getting the same quiz or want to, randomize it a little bit more, then within quizzes, there is a question group feature. Okay, moving on. I could go for a s'more right now. Rachel, ready to talk about pairing?
That's funny. You could go for a s'more right now.
It's never too early for some s'mores.
Yeah. Okay, so parents as observers. So I'm just going to walk you. There's nothing really to show necessarily on Canvas, although Rhonda, if you could switch over there for me just briefly. So within a course, if you go to people, up in the top right-hand corner, there's going to be an option in 3 dots, which, by the way, side note, anytime that you have 3 dots in Canvas, there's magic there. So always click the 3 dots, find the 3 dots and click it, because there's always extra goodies, magic wands that happen within 3 dots. So within those 3 dots, there's the export pairing codes option. So what that will do is it will push like an Excel or spreadsheet file with all of your students and a pairing code that goes with that student. So Ron, if you flip back. So basically, this first video in the slide that is going to show up in a second shows you how to access pairing codes. I just showed you briefly. Students can actually access their own pairing code as well. So like if they're home and, you know, mom and dad are right there and they want to have parents set up an observer account, they can do that. Administrators, so like Canvas administrators, which at your site will include your principal, your CSPs, your office managers. Some sites have like your office assistant. Some sites have your nurse. Some sites have your LST as an administrator. And all of those people can also just print a massive set of pairing codes. Or let's say a parent goes into the office, wishful thinking, right, whenever the office reopens, but let's just say that happens, or they call into the office, an office manager can grab a student pairing code, so it doesn't have to be Joe. But at the beginning of the school year, if you're wanting to move forward with Canvas and you're wanting to get parents set up, which I would recommend, then watch that video. If you need to remember how to grab those pairing codes, then step 2, I have like a flyer that you can send digitally, or you could print and give them a copy. It's step-by-step instructions for signing up for a parent code on an app or on the web. There's a Spanish version and an English version, so you decide which one you want to use. And there's a space on that flyer for you or your student or whatever, it's probably going to be you because of the distance learning thing, to hand write their pairing code. Or you could text it or email it out to them or whatever, use Remind. But anyway, so info about those 2 platforms for parents so you can speak to it more knowledgeably. And this information is included in the flyer, but just so you know, when a parent signs up to pair with a student as an observer, they, I'm adjusting some of the permissions at the district level, but they should be able to see their child's work, not only the completed work and the grade, which they can see that, their child's grade book, but also like the actual individual assignment, what the assignment directions are, when it's due, if their child turned it in late, all those things. They also can use the inbox within Canvas to email and message you. If they sign up on the app and log into the app, that's going to give them a more like a bird's eye broad view of how their student's doing. They won't be able to see the nitty gritty of specific assignments. It's like I said, it's more of a broad view. Like, here's my child's grades in these, you know, 3 classes, if it's like 2nd grade in music and PE or something. Now, if they log in through a browser, which they can also do on their phone, like so through Safari or Chrome or whatever, that's where they get the like nitty gritty view of the course. So, you know, you can explain that maybe to parents in a screencast or something, but so that handout is for you to use either digitally or print. And then there's a tutorial there that you could also pass out to parents. There's 2 separate ones. So how do you sign up via the web and how do you sign up via an app? So there's those 2 tutorials also. It's super easy on the app. Basically, they're going to an app store and downloading the parent Canvas app, which is yellow as opposed to red, which is what ours looks like, what the student one looks like. The first button that they see will say, find your school. And there's a search bar where parents will probably be tempted to type in, you know, Fairmont or Quail Lake or wherever, Hallmark. But they don't type that in. They actually just type in Sanger Unified. Again, this is on that flyer. And select Sanger Unified. And then you type in they create a username and password. If they log in via the web, it's exactly the same thing as you. You go to sanger.instructure.com and then they create a username and password and they're done. So when they type in a pairing code, which they'll need in order to do that, they're pairing with their student, not with a teacher. So like for me, if, you know, it's my son who is at WAMS, if I pair with him, I'm going to be able to see all 6 of his teacher's courses. Like I don't have to get a separate pairing code from each teacher. So if you're primary, then, you know, one code will let you see music and art and PE and just the regular teacher all in one spot. And if a parent has multiple kids, they just need a separate pairing code for each kid. And then within the app or within the web platform, they just toggle between those students and they can check all within one place. They don't have to like re-log in and have a different login for each kid. So that's parent observers. If you have questions, we can pause right now really quickly for any pairing code questions, any parent observer questions. All right, I think probably, Rhonda, we're good to go on.
All right, on we go.
So where are we on time? We're out of time.
Yeah, we need to, but this is important. They will need to know how to do this. So I would definitely focus on how to import the rosters to the rosters.
Yeah, okay, so bear with us, guys. If you have to check off, then go for it. But this is like the imminent question that a lot of people are asking. Okay, so I have these courses that I made through Growing with Canvas. Maybe it's the like district created ELA Canvas course that was pushed out to you, or the district created math course that was pushed out to you. Or maybe it's like your PLC course that you created and you guys have revised things and you're like, well, how do I, that course doesn't have students in it. So do I have to manually enter students? No. You don't have to do anything with students. Those courses are meant to be like teacher edition courses, like keep them for yourself. Don't ever add students. You should have had populated into your Canvas a course tile that has your name, grade level, some gobbledygook that says like year and few numbers and things. That is populated from PowerSchool, and it does include students. So the process that I'm going to show you is basically, well, how do I take this content from over here and put it over here? So basically what you're doing is copying from this and importing it into this. So Rhonda can show you on the screen. We're recording this, so if you forget, you can go back and watch. But basically you're going to open the course where you want the content to end up. So for you guys, that's going to be your PowerSchool student populated course. So open that course and scroll down to settings, click on settings, and over on the right hand side, you're going to see an option to import course content. So that button, and then at the top, you're going to see import content, and then you're selecting something. So if you click on that drop down, there's an option to copy a Canvas course. So then in the next box, you're going to type in the name of the course that you're pulling the content from. So if you're pulling from like the SUSD, you know, district created ELA course, then type in that exact name. And you can find that exact name because you're a teacher in that class. It should be on your dashboard. If it's a PLC course, find the exact name of it, type it in, select it. Then you're going to decide, do I want all content to come into this student populated course or specific? So if you select all content, that's literally everything. So for example, if it's the K6 Canvas courses and you're like, I love the, you know, artistic stuff and the buttons and the colors, it's great, it's perfect. I'm new to Canvas, I don't want to have to design anything. I loved all the units that they created, it's amazing. Then select all content, pull all the content. Rhonda, could you go back real quickly? So if you click select all content, it's going to give you the import button option, and it'll just start importing the whole thing. If you select specific content, then you click import. Never fear, it's not going to let the whole thing come over. If you select specific content and then import, then there's going to be on that very top line, this is basically a record of all the imports that Rhonda has done. So the very top line is the one that you just directed Canvas to do. Click select content, that red button. And then you can go through and you can select like, okay, you know what? I love the unit 1 and the unit 2. I have my own homepage already created. So I just want units 1 and 2, modules 1 and 2. Then click select content in the bottom right. And then just those items will pass. It's really that simple. So just to refresh, you open the course where you want the content to end up. So that's going to be the course that's student populated that came to you from PowerSchool. You're going to click on settings. You're going to click on the right-hand column, import course content. Then you're going to select copy a Canvas course. Then you're going to type in the specific name of the course. Then you're going to choose whether you want all content or specific content to come over. So Kimberly just asked a great question. Is there a way that we can share courses across PLCs? Yes. So Kimberly, here's what I would recommend. I recommend making one course your PLC course, like your master course, where everybody can contribute. So, you know, this person is going to create the quiz for the week. This person is going to create that seesaw activity. This person is going to create the, discussion. This person is going to create the screencast. You can all dump the stuff in that PLC course so you all have access to it. You just need to make sure that each of you is a teacher in that course. So just go to courses, all courses, add a new course, and you should be able to add each other. Whoever created the course can add everyone in your PLC as a teacher. Rhonda's showing you how to do that right now. You go to people, add people, enter everyone in your PLC's email address. Make sure you assign them the role of teacher, click next, and voila, you're done. So you can repeat that same process, Kimberly. If you guys have a PLC course and you've created great stuff and you want to import in that into your student populated course, you would go through that same exact process. Super easy. Now there are other ways to share content by just clicking like copy to a course, or like if you're talking one item, like a page here, a quiz there, an assignment here, some little things. If you're talking whole bulk importing, this is definitely by far the easiest way to do that. So there you go. You're welcome.
Okay.
So okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to see if there were any other follow-up questions.
If you want to know how to do like copying a page, those little mini kind of copy and pasting, the tutorials are linked right there on the slideshow on the left-hand side. So you can just take one page and copy it to another course, or one assignment and copy it to another course, or an announcement or a quiz or a discussion. It's very easy. It's like click a button, you're done. So I wouldn't use Commons for copying and pulling in content unless you're sharing with someone like that's outside of Sanger Unified. Like maybe in one of those Facebook groups, there's someone who created this awesome homepage, I don't know, Harry Potter, and you're a Harry Potter fan, or Disney, Brianna Phillips. So you could go to Commons and share that and pull that in, or that person in Texas could share it to Commons and then pull that in. So that's what I would use Commons for.
Okay, so I think that in light of time, we're going to share a couple other pieces of information and then save questions for last. But what I would encourage you guys to do right now is, if you have questions, please type them in the chat, because we will visit that. But we're going to have to jump on to our next Canvas training in just a minute. I want to remind you that 301 is available. So if you want to have some training on anything that's listed here, I'm going to show you how to get there. So Growing with Canvas Part 2. If you had already enrolled in Growing with Canvas, you can go to Growing with Canvas Part 2, and you can see some of the information that Rachel has shared. If you haven't, here is the link at the bottom. Sorry, it's covered, but there's the link.
Let me just say really quickly, sorry guys, like there is some really great meaty stuff in there. So things like Studio, how do I use Studio? ListenWise, like all the new LTIs that are coming out or that are getting set up. Some of them are still being finalized. There's a bunch of like tips and tricks, things that I never knew until I had been using Canvas for a couple years. So I would highly recommend, after you start to feel comfortable with Canvas, jump in there. There's a ton of stuff for you to learn and look at.
Okay, and then some extra resources and opportunities. So the next two slides actually go together depending on if you are TK to 6 or 7 through 12. So in the spring, the district encouraged teachers, paid teams of teachers to create the K through 6 ELA and math courses. And now they are extending that opportunity again for both TK to 6 and really TK to 12. So the goal is to have completed courses for trimester 2, semester 2. Okay, so we're looking for content experts as well as support from RSP, VAPA, ELD, and Canvas experts once again. You would receive a paid stipend. It's a 25-hour stipend for the completed course. And you can see there that the timeline is, we're starting right now to establish and build teams. And then September would be the building time. And the goal would be to have courses completed by mid-October so that they could be used at the beginning of November, pushed out at the beginning of November. We've had a lot of feedback from people who worked in the pilot to create, and we're very grateful that many of those people, many of you actually are willing to participate again, so thank you. But this is a clickable link, so if you click on it, it will take you to an interest form, as will this one, which is the same thing for grades 7 through 12. Okay, so we've just separated because it's a little bit different, but the same idea for both. So if you're interested in either, please click on the appropriate one depending on your grade level and express your interest, and then we'll be reaching out to you. We also wanted to share this resource, which is housed on Sanger Learns. So our ELD and VAPA team have done an outstanding job to provide support and resources for teachers. So if you're looking for tools in that area, this is also a clickable link, and it will take you to the page created by Teresa Blanchard, Jennifer Dieterman-Lewis, and Catherine Cooper have worked very hard to provide these resources. So you'll find tools like choice boards and recordings of things that they've done. It's really fantastic. So please utilize that as a resource. Finally, two more, I think. This is an interactive PDF. It is a training series for Canvas, and I believe some of the videos that you will find in here are tutorials pulled from Growing with Canvas. Others are on YouTube, but it is a very like linear progress through Canvas. So if you are kind of like, I think I need to start at the beginning, this might be a good place for you to begin. Also a good refresher for those of you who might like that. And then finally, this link will take you to the online course that we have, online Canvas course that we have created with all of the resources from today. So if you're like, I don't really understand the pairing code thing, you can go in, find Canvas 201 or 101 actually, we're covering that everywhere, and click on the videos there. You can do the same thing for Gradebook or SpeedGrader, or importing courses. We've tried to house all of those video links and documents in one place so that they are easy to access, and you can see by title the purpose of the video or the document. Okay. Tomorrow we have drop-in support hours from 1 to 4. So there is the link to the Google Meet. Katie, Rachel, and I will all be available to help you. So please don't hesitate. And please don't hesitate to email. I'm sure Rachel and Katie, like me, have received so many phone calls while we're on this meeting. We can't always get to the phone, but if you email us or drop into the meeting, we can sure help you. And then the last thing is some feedback. So if you would please do us the favor of leaving some feedback for today. Also, I just encourage you to leave specific feedback. So if there are other things in Canvas that you're still confused about, or things that you were hoping to see but didn't, we will definitely read through that and use it to create as we go forward. So I want to thank everybody for attending. And as I said, please feel free to leave your questions in the comments, in the chat, or shout them out as we finish.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming. Glad to see some familiar faces and smiles. I echo what Rhonda said. Feel free to reach out for help, and we will do our best to get back to you as soon as we can.